5 seconds. Start. Traditional conception of security. The greatest danger to a country is from military threats. The source of this danger is another country which, by threatening military action, endangers the core value of sovereignty, independence, and territorial integrity. Military action also endangers the lives of ordinary citizens. It is unlikely that in a war only soldiers will be hurt or killed. Quite often, ordinary men and women are made targets of war to break their support of the war. In responding to the threat of war, government has three basic choices: to surrender, to prevent the other side from attacking by promising to raise the cost of war to an unacceptable level, and to defend itself when war actually breaks out so as to deny the attacking country its objectives and to turn back or defeat the attacking forces altogether. Government may choose to surrender when actually confronted by war, but they will not advertise this as the policy of the country. Therefore, security policy is concerned with preventing war, which is called deterrence, and with limiting or ending war, which is called defense. Traditional security policy has a third component called balance of power. When countries look around them, they see that some countries are bigger and stronger. This is due to who might be a threat in the future. For instance, a neighboring country may not say it is preparing for attack. There may be no obvious reason for attack, but the fact that this country is very powerful is a sign that at some point in the future it may choose to be aggressive. Governments are therefore very sensitive to the balance of power between the country and other countries. They do work hard to maintain a favorable balance of power with other countries, especially those close by, those with whom they have differences, or with those they have had conflicts in the past. A good part of maintaining a balance of power is to build up one's military power, although economic and technological power are also important since they are the basis for military power. A fourth and related component of traditional security policy is alliance building. An alliance is a coalition of states that coordinate their actions to deter or defend against military attack. Most alliances are formalized in written treaties and are based on a fairly clear identification of who constitutes the threat. Countries form alliances to increase their effective power relative to another country or alliance. Alliances are based on national interests and can change when national interests change. In the traditional view of security, then most threats to a country's security come from outside its borders. That is because the international system is a rather brutal arena in which there is no central authority capable of controlling behavior. Within a country, the threat of violence is regulated by an acknowledged central authority, the government. In world politics, there is no acknowledged central authority that stands above everyone else. It is tempting to think that the UN is such an authority or called become such an institution. However, as presently constituted, the UN is a creature of its members and has authority only to the extent that the membership allows it to have authority and obeys it. So, in world politics, each country has to be responsible for its own security. Traditional security must also therefore concern itself with internal security. The reason it is not given so much importance is that after the Second World War, it seemed that for the most powerful countries on earth, internal security was more or less assured. Internal security was certainly a part of the concerns of governments historically. After the Second World War. There was a context and situation in which internal security did not seem to matter as much as it had in the past. After 1949, the US and the Soviet Union appeared to be united and could expect peace within their borders. Most of the European countries, particularly the powerful Western European countries, faced no serious threats from groups or communities living within those borders. Therefore, these countries focused primarily on threats from outside their borders. The period after the Second World War was the Cold War, in which the US led Western alliance faced the said Soviet led Communist alliance. Above all, the two alliances feared a military attack from each other. Some European powers, in addition, continued to work about violence in their colonies from colonized people who wanted independence. The French fighting in Vietnam in the 1950s or the British fighting in Kenya in the 1950s and the early 1960s. As the colonies became free from the late 1940s onward, their security concerns were often similar to that of the European power. They therefore had to worry about the Cold War becoming a hot war and dragging them into hostilities against neighbors who might have joined the other side in the Cold War against the leaders of the alliance or against any of the other partner of the US and Soviet Union. Full stop.